Would you like to reach our film and TV review podcast audience? Do you have a product or service of interest to film and TV home consumers or followers of the entertainment industry? Have a film or show production to publicize? For affordable price plans for all budgets, get in touch and find out about our introductory advertising options. Reach our audience of film and TV viewers and visit our site contact page at filmandtvreview.com, or you can email us at business@filmandtvreview.com. Reach out today. Welcome to filmandtvreview.com. Catch the latest film, TV and streamed show reviews every week. The views and opinions expressed by the authors and those providing comments are theirs alone. They do not reflect the views, opinions or position of filmandtvreview.com or their respective parent companies or affiliates. Filmandtvreview.com makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information in this program and is for entertainment purposes only. Episodes may contain adult humor and language. For full terms and conditions, see filmandtvreview.com.
Hello and welcome to Film and TV Review, just our regular podcast of the film and TV shows over the last month or so. Done by our regulars, Andrew, Alfonso, Richard, and Noel as well. Got quite a few releases, and recent releases leading up to the kind of the festive season. Wicked 2, we already had Predator Badlands, Frankenstein, the Running Man remake, and a few others, but we will kick off with one of the big ones, especially for this season. It's Wicked 2, or rather the second part of the Wicked movie, which is based on the Wizard of Oz stage show. I think so. This is, I think, set a few years after the film. Main cast Cynthia Alvaro as Albitha and Andrea Grandi as Glinda. I think so. Basically, symbols of good and bad, and on their way to a quest of their way in the world of Oz as such. So, did good. I mean, big fans of this. Great musical from the first part, which was last year. So this was the second part. Noel, you saw this. Richard and Andrew, you saw this. So, does it live up to the previous chapter? I mean, does it? At least it's basically split into two. It's the second part. So, is this a great one for the season upon us? Christmas film. Noel, what did you think of Wicked 2?
So Wicked has always had the shortcoming of Act 1 and 2, because the second act is nowhere near as strong as the first act, and Wicked altogether's musical is not, while it's beloved by a lot of young people, the critics didn't have the same opinions about it. It's not known for being an A-level musical, which is ironic because I thought with this sort of new way of doing musicals, they would combine elements from the Wicked book and the Wicked film. That way you could pad out the runtime. The book is really good and it has a lot of these political elements that they briefly touch on, but then don't seem to do anything with, which is very disappointing. It felt very rushed, but also like there was a lot of like not like things that could have been cut, basically. I think if they had done what Hunchback of Notre Dame did recently, which is they combined the Disney movie with the book to make a musical, if Wicked did a similar thing of combining some elements from the book to pad out the runtime, make it more interesting, and use the songs, it would have been much stronger. There were some changes I did like. I think the way that the animals are is better because when you see them as real animals and not just someone in a costume, it adds, to, the situation. I also like how they didn't kill Dr. Dillman like they do in the show and book. But still, it just felt like a lot of the time you have so many plot holes and so many unanswered questions, and it just feels really disappointing because of that. But I thought that because you have a strong director, you could fix those things, but unfortunately they didn't. So it kind of isn't even a better version of the musical, except for just a couple elements, including like the connection to the Wizard of Oz itself, including how Nessa Rose is portrayed. I think that was a lot better done this time around, but it's not eons better than the musical, which is sad because the first part was much better than the musical, in my
Oh,
opinion.
okay. Richard, you saw this as well. Obviously the first
Uh,
part you saw in this, does
yeah.
it is it as good or maybe shouldn't have been done or split?
Um, I have kind of agree, but also disagree with what Noel has said. It's definitely, yes, it's definitely not as good as the first part. Uh, on that, I agree. Now, the reason I'm saying that is a bit different from what Noel just said. My opinion is that in a way, it's true actually that the first in Broadway or in the West End, it's true actually that the first part ends with this climatic moment with defying gravity, etc., and the second part is kind of doesn't have this great extraordinary moment that people are literally standing up um, but perhaps it's a good I think it's for good reason. It's a good writing in a way because I see it as kind of a two parts of a tragedy where you have a very uplifting and kind of funny sometimes first part where almost everything goes well until the last 5 minutes, and then you have a very different story with the same characters a few years later where all the things they've done have consequences, and you see the consequences of these things that they've done in the first movie. Uh, and like a good tragedy, all these things kind of come together. And well, no spoiler, but well, I mean, it's been around in the West End for 20 years. So, you have actually a very sad ending, sad last 20 minutes, especially about the friendship about the two main characters, which is very well portrayed on the screen, I think. Which is, I think, the strongest part of these two movies. So there are still very emotional moments in the second one, but not in a different emotion than the first movie, let's say. Um, but the question is, when you do a two-parter movie, do you criticize or review it just as it is, just the second part, or do you analyze the whole thing?
I do
You,
analyze the whole thing because, it's kind of like a TV show. You don't say, oh, this episode's really good and this episode's not, so I don't like the whole thing. I just think that because there's multiple source materials out there, not just the musical, they could have done more with like having 6 hours basically of screen time. You could have brought in other elements than that.
I agree. On that part, I agree.
Mhm.
If they do it properly, they could either they do it 6 hours in two parts, or they do a 4 hour movie, but
Mhm.
only one, in my opinion, but even better.
Yeah.
It made me think of Harry Potter and the last two Harry Potters. For me, the first part of Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows, was kind of not many things happening, and then everything happens in the second part. Uh, and when I compare with, I'm a broken record. When I compare with the best adaptation of all time, Lord of the Rings, if you watch Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, or Return of the King by itself, just one movie, you think that they are masterpieces. They are really well done. Obviously, you want to see more, but what I mean is that you can enjoy these movies by themselves. I don't think that you can enjoy Wicked for Good without watching recently or just a few days before or just before Wicked Part 1, and especially if you don't know anything about Wizard of Oz. There's so many connections with Wizard of Oz in this part. And as I said, the consequences of everything that happened a year ago, you can see them now. So yeah, obviously it's for financial reasons. They want to do two releases. Fair enough. They will make twice more money. Fair enough. But yeah, I think it has it's an issue. Now, that being said, I enjoyed again the two actresses, I think they were born to be these people, these two guys. I mean, great casting. They were amazing again, I think. Again, even in the more dramatic parts, let's say, than in the first movie. Yeah, I felt like it was a very nice conclusion of what I watched last year, let's say.
Do you think this should have been maybe? I think maybe the studio's kicking itself that it wasn't a three-parter. They didn't stretch it out because it probably does well make money. I think it is. It's just that good, you know.
If no, what Noel is saying is that actually in the books there is enough source material, why not? But I agree that in a way, some storylines in the second part feel almost rushed, and you think maybe there's a wrong decisions made into what to adapt, and to develop. I don't know, but unfortunately, the two central characters are amazing still. But there are other stuff that are not that great.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
I also
and
think it makes it difficult. Sorry, just really quick, what makes it difficult as well is the book is very adult and the subject matter is very adult.
Yeah,
And then you have a musical that like 13-year-olds like, so you can't show
absolutely.
everything, unfortunately. So, which is a disappointing thing.
hmm, Andrew, what you saw this as well. What did you think it works? Do you think maybe it would work better as maybe one, maybe 4 hour kind of like
It's funny you
show?
say that because I know in the US in a little bit they're going to be releasing a 4+ hour version of Kill Bill where they basically take those two films and I guess have some additional scenes that were cut out and pad that out and make that into one movie. And that's going to be released soon in the US. Anyway, but getting back to Wicked and that whole franchise, I haven't read the book, but I've basically seen the theater production and now the movies. Uh, I'll say that Act Two of the stage musical I'll say that the movie adaptation of that is better than the Act Two of the stage musical. What you see there, I mean, that's only like maybe less than an hour. Uh, but I guess for this, what they tried to do was add some things, a little bit more of the side characters, and also Glinda and her backstory. I guess part one is, I'm just talking about the movies here. The part one is focused more on Elphaba, and here you have Elphaba again, but you also have Linda and her backstory and why she's doing the things that she's doing. But I think it's overall pretty all right for me. I mean, I didn't have any really issues of, oh, well, is this too much? Are they padding out too much? Some of the new songs, yeah, I liked them.
No.
And some of the other songs that were brought over from the stage, the stage performance, like "For Good" or some of the other ones. I guess "No Good Deed." Those were still good for this version. There were little glitches here or there, I think. As someone pointed out, and I was reading, and I kind of noticed this too. There's a scene where it's a bit where like Elphaba's going to meet the wizard, and it's supposed to be like the middle of the night, and then she goes off somewhere, and then suddenly it's like daytime, and they're having the wedding for Glinda, and I'm like, wait, what time of day is it? Is it the middle of the night, or is it the middle of the day, and are they having a wedding late at night? I don't know. I thought that was a little strange, but overall, I thought it was a decent adaptation of that, and adding some new things to kind of flesh out the story of this what's happening to the animals and what's going to happen to society in general and this reality, and fleshing that out. So and the actors playing these roles, I thought they did a decent job. I mean, you mentioned the leads, and there was Jeff Goldblum, and then trying to remember the others. Marissa.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, see about her. I mean, she was all right.
She can't really sing though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought somewhere she might have been able to sing somewhere else, but here it didn't sound like she. So I don't know. I don't know what her singing back is here. It didn't sound so good, but whatever. I thought Marissa Bodie, yeah, I thought she was all right for the bits we saw her. I mean, yeah, there is some nods to I say the Wizard of Oz. It's, I guess, what people are familiar with is the 1939 version of the Wizard of Oz. There are many different adaptations of the Wizard of Oz. The Judy Garland one wasn't even the first one, actually. So, but that's the one that people are familiar with, and so that's kind of the one that they're going for. And then they made little changes, like the slippers weren't ruby colored, I
And I
guess.
thought they
Well,
were
in the
red.
books
They
they're
were supposed to be
silver.
red, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but in the original book they're silver, but they wanted to show off the
Ah,
Technicolor, so that's why they're red in the film.
Yeah.
okay.
So a lot of different things that were or weren't adapted from. I mean, really, it's a franchise that's going back almost a century. I mean, if you go
Yeah.
back to Baum and his original novels. But getting back to this movie, I thought it was fine. I mean, again, not as good as the first movie, but I thought it was fine. I didn't have too many issues with it. I mean, yeah, certain parts could have been maybe fleshed out a bit more, but it ends on a, I don't mean this as a pun, but it ends on a good, strong note. Just the idea of the relationship between the two leads and For Good, that song and what happens afterwards. So yeah, I thought it was all right.
Okay. Sounds like
Sorry,
it just
one
makes
more critique really quick. Well, I have a couple of them, but the main one I have as well is as soon as Elphaba learns her sister died, she basically has no reaction. Like, bro, a house just fell on your sister, and she's like then fighting with Glinda playfully right after. And I'm like, your sister died, dude. Why are you,
Yeah, the reaction is delayed, let's say. It's
Yeah.
a scene
Yeah.
after where she gets crazy about everything that's happening to her, yeah. Yeah.
But I did like the reaction from Glinda when Madame Morrible, when she tells like Madame Morrible, I figured it out that you caused the, you know what I mean? Like Ariana Grande's acting surprised me a
Mm.
lot. So for both films.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. That sounds about sticks the landing on there. So, okay, pretty okay. Just right. Next, a long-standing franchise with some ups and downs throughout the years, but the latest entry in
Favorite.
the, I guess, Predator, I suppose franchise, let's call it a franchise, is Predator Badlands. So, here, it's kind of almost a standalone movie almost, but same director who did Prey, which was a couple of years back. Two pretty good reviews all around. Here we follow Dek, a young outcast predator or Yacha, is sent to a hostile planet to prove himself to his tribe, hunting an apex creature. He crash lands and then kind of has an alliance with a damaged android from the Weyland Yutani Corporation from the, I suppose, not just the Alien franchise, I suppose. Uh, Both navigate this alien landscape and form a bond and face the existential threats that along the way. It's I think main besides our Predator, it's Ellie Fanning as
Yeah.
the android. So a kind of a buddy kind of road movie almost in the Predator kind of like framework. This is a hard one to what to expect from this initially from the trailers, but I gotta say, pleasantly surprised by this. Um,
You enjoyed it.
I actually did, and you kind of like I said, throughout the years, there's been more misses than hits, or hitting their mark, pardon the pun, with this franchise. So when you go in with low expectations, but maybe, I mean, the trailer was like, I was starting to warm to it, but it's actually an enjoyable film, actually. Great kudos to
Mm.
Ellie Fanning on this. Richard, what did you
So
enjoy this?
No, it's interesting because I think I'm in the minority here because I know that this movie has been enjoyed by a lot of people around the world for some reason.
Mm.
Yes, let's start with it's true. Ellie Fanning is amazing in this movie. To be honest, she's definitely for me the best part of the movie. But unfortunately, she's only the supporting. She's playing the supporting character. So um, and my problem comes from the main character, who is always on the screen, not 100% of the time. So that's my main issue, obviously, and that's why I not sure it's, in my opinion, I don't think it's a great Predator movie, but and I'm telling you why I'm such in the I feel like I'm in the minority about the whole franchise, because one of the movies that I'm guessing Predator fans hate the most is Predators, I think, with Adrien Brody and Laurence Fishburne. I actually enjoy a lot this movie, and I still like it, even to rewatch it. So, and that explains why I don't like much about the Predator characterization here. I truly believe that Predator, since the Schwarzenegger movie, is supposed to be dumb. It's a dumb movies that are supposed to be just full action, and you have a Predator who is supposed to be a Predator, who is just an alien here to kill people, and that's it. Like the craziest alien in the universe who is almost invincible, and that should be the plot of all movies. How to stop something that is invincible, that is the best killing machine ever. And that's why I enjoy Predator with Schwarzenegger. That's why I enjoyed the one with Laurence Fishburne and Adrien Brody. Well, I don't want to talk about AVP, but yeah, here the choice of the guy who wrote the movie is to make it like actually is someone actually you can almost relate to, I guess, who is actually almost has human problems with his parents, and I don't understand where we thought. I thought it was a joke sometimes. At some point, I think he makes a joke. By the way, he's trying to have some sense of humor, and he's a friend with the kid slash android. I'm thinking, what am I watching? Because yeah, and I truly believe, and that's only an opinion, but I truly believe that the Disney influence on this franchise to make everything more nicer and cool or whatever, but not as frightening as these things used to be. And I'm thinking about Alien, this terrible TV show that we had a couple of months ago, where the same happened to the Xenomorph, almost like different way, but again, the alien Xenomorph is now it's definitely not frightening, and I was thinking, what's going to be next? And yeah, I really, really didn't like the characterization of this monster of cinema, let's say, in this movie. Every time he was on screen, every time he was doing something or even talking, thinking, what the hell is happening? So yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
Yeah, I guess that it is a bit of a characterization that's going, because obviously it's he suffers the I guess the murder of his brother via his father, who's not very accepting. This sounds like a soap opera, but this is all part of a Predator soap opera. Actually, that happens in the preamble. So, and he's going through depression or remorse, as diagnosed by Ellie Fanning. A lot of stuff going on here that you'd see in a Disney film, and character arc. Yes. Andrew, how did this sit for you? Because this is definitely a lot of tonal dimension now we're getting with usually movie monsters now, even with the alien. But did you actually enjoy this from the straight off anyway, or did it really did dilute it too much for you, Andrew?
No, I mean, I generally enjoyed it. I liked the world building and the expansion, because we never really saw that side of things except in like the expanded materials, like maybe the novels or the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to remember if you even heard the word Yautja in any of the other movies or any, maybe it was mentioned briefly, but I think it's more of an expanded universe.
Yeah.
But here you finally get a chance to see the, what's that world is like, what that species is like. And so I like the world building. I kind of was thinking like, okay, they're trying to weld the, kind of do arc welding with the Alien franchise, with the Weyland Yutani and the synths, which again was something that was, I think, first really talked about. I mean, it's talked about a while, but more recently on Alien Earth. So I'm wondering if they're trying to do some kind of cinematic universe with that. I don't know, maybe not. But I think for this movie, I thought it was fine. Again, different vantage point, focusing on the Yautja what it's like for them, the rules and the castes and what their society is like, and having the human-looking characters be sort of the antagonists this time around. In this case, it's synths who are created by humans. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. I mean, I did. My only thing is that, and I thought Elle Fanning was all right. I mean, she played the two different roles, Thea and Tessa, I guess,
Yeah.
those two synths. But I guess she kept saying the word Yautja over and over again, which kind of was sort of just the way she kept saying it is sort of like a little cute, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, I was like kind of got used to it. It was sort of like okay, but yeah, no, I thought it was fine. I mean, I'm kind of curious where they're going to go from here. They do, without spoiling the ending, it does seem like they're trying to allude to having some kind of larger thing going on. So we'll see.
Almost like, a Guardians of the Galaxy, but with Predator and Pet in
Exactly.
tow. I kind of see, I know. Honestly, I mean, if you're going to rank them, I'd just say the first movie is the best one because they're all B movies, but this was basically a very tight, very primal, and well shot, good charisma from the leads, and a scary at times, because it was very much undiluted. This is hunting and killing, and this is different apex predators, but how you can't keep maybe doing that over and over again. Having said that, there is a great animated, I think, spin-off of uh, Killers or
Killer of Killers, I think.
yeah, Club Killers, which is what it does is that scenario, but over different periods of time. It's like Mano or Mano against Womo, if depending on the character that they are interacting with. So it does better without talking, basically, these kind of movies. But then how do you keep doing that? I guess when you've got that Disney umbrella, they have to in their in their MO, they have to evolve it or make it a bigger franchise or, as appeal as many as possible. But yeah, maybe it dilutes it too much. It's enjoyable as it is as a B movie, but would I want to see this continue in its same vein? I don't know. But I enjoyed it. It's not something you can really put too much thought behind, quite honestly. But I think it does it well. It explains itself as well. Things which you don't happen in movies a lot. Why this happens? Why such and such? It actually does. There is thought in why things happen. So I enjoyed it. But where it goes from here, who knows? Right. Next. Uh, Bugonia. Now this is a kind of like a conspiracy obsessed kind of like framework of a CEO of a big pharmaceutical company is maybe under the suspicion that she's actually an alien plotting Earth's destruction. So two characters, I think Don and his cousin, I think just kidnap her and subject her to experiments to try and, I guess, extract a confession out of her. Kind of a psychological game territory here. Um, I guess it's kind of like a comedy thriller. It's got, I think, Emma Stone as this CEO character. Quite intriguing premise. Alfonso, Andrew, you both saw this. Is it?
Mhm.
Does it quite intriguing? Is it as interesting as it pans out?
Well, it's entertaining. Yeah, as you kind of summarized it very well. It's basically a couple of knuckleheads that
Mhm.
have a have a mission, which is to kidnap Emma Stone, who is the CEO of a company and quite like I don't know, she has a cold exterior, and they take her hostage, and I'm not hostage, but like they kidnap her and try to, well, it's I think they are cousins, and the leader, it's J.C. Plemons, who is convinced that she's an alien, and the movie is basically he's trying to make her confess that she's an alien. With like everything seems a little bit Michael Gondry in the way that it's very homemade. So you don't you think like this guy is totally nuts, because he doesn't have the most, let's say, sophisticated lab in his basement. He's very or anything like you didn't. The real mystery is like who's crazy here, basically. And well, that's something that the movie, yeah, keeps you entertained all the time. In the end, you get an answer to that question. It's weird because it's Yorgos Lanthimos, but it's kind of one of the most commercial, maybe films of Yorgos. So yeah, I liked it, but I don't think it should be, for example, nominated for Best Picture or anything.
This was a theater release, or is this actually on a streaming?
The cinema.
No, it's theater.
Cinema.
Cinema, right. Andrew, what did you think? It's a dark comedy. I'm guessing the vein is kind of like, it's almost like Kings of Comedy or something. Right?
Yeah, well, see, the thing is that it's actually a remake of a South Korean film called Save the Green Planet, or at least that's the title in English. And both versions have the same basic plot and the same plot beats. I think the main difference is that the original Korean film is like maybe a half hour longer and has more, well, I mean, because it's longer, but there's like a whole additional subplot in the Korean version of some of the police officers and their investigation of this kidnapping. So that's like a whole thing in the original film. In this, I guess, US-based or maybe multinational remake, it's just more, a lot more focused on the kidnappers and the kidnappee, and not a lot of side characters really. And the other thing is that in the original, the kidnappers were this guy and his sort of girlfriend, maybe. And then in this version, it's this guy and his developmentally disabled cousin. So that kind of changes dynamics a little bit. There's also a character in this version that's played by, if I can pronounce his name, Stavros Halkias. He's from the US. He's a comedian. I guess he has a following online. So he has, apparently a lot of people were interested in this film because of this person. But this Stavros Halkias played, if I pronounce it correctly, he plays a police officer who has some kind of history with the character played by Jesse Plemons. So there's like something there that I don't want to say what it is, but that makes it a little bit more, it's like something interesting there, a little bit more unique to that. So yeah, I mean, this was a fine film as it was. I guess the issue for me is because I already seen the Korean film, I wasn't like taken aback by certain things, like people who've never seen the original and are just seeing this and this particular story for the first time are like, oh wow, and I was like, yeah, I mean, again, some differences, but it's the same basic plot and plot beats. So, I wasn't as surprised at things, but that being said, there are some things that were a little bit unique that I was like, okay, I think what they're going for here. So, I mean, it's, again, a fine film by itself. Although, as I said, if you've seen the original Korean film, it may not be maybe as interesting as if you were, completely new to this story, for the first time. So I don't know. That's just me.
Okay. Okay. Next, another kind of like adaptation of a classic story, especially around these winter months, is Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro. Is the obviously doing his version of the classic Victor Frankenstein scientist, driven by grief, embarks on a project to create new life, and it takes the form of a powerful creature and unfortunately this creation, a mixture of science and horror, kind of like grows beyond his control. So it's obviously the Mary Shelley classic. It's been done so many times before, obviously. So it was interesting to see what this director would translate to on the screen. So, I mean, there was a lot of expectation when this title was announced. It and so it came out recently on Netflix. I saw this. Alfonso, James, and Richard, you all saw this. I guess I got to say it right off the bat. I found it a bit lacking in what maybe from his vision, what I kind of expected from maybe what, as in visually or his little touch on it, because we have seen this so many times before, and I found it a bit pedestrian. What about you guys? What do you think? For me, it did remind me. I'll just add this: if there was one with Kenneth Branagh did a few years ago, again, nice production values and everything. I couldn't see much difference between this and this version, except the costumes are better here. But am I wrong on this? Richard, was your take on this Frankenstein?
Yeah,
A lot of hype before this, I think.
it's hard to actually to add anything because I think you kind of sum up. No, it's true. I think you sum up my thoughts. I- um, it's true that actually, if you adapt Frankenstein, which is a very famous book, and there's so many adaptations, you might want to add something to make your version different from everything else. Guillermo del Toro is kind of look like actually the perfect guy to adapt Frankenstein when you think about it, because obviously you have this gothic uh, atmosphere, and it is set in this Victorian era, I'm guessing. So in a way, you would think that with a guy who did the Hellboy movies or he did Crimson Peak also, it would be actually when you look at what he's done before, or even Shape of Water, he's the guy actually who is perfect to do a Frankenstein adaptation. And visually, it's true. Visually, actually, I think that it's truly a beautiful movie, a perfect movie almost. And yeah, and almost even the Frankenstein creature played by Jacob Elordi is quite interesting because you not only see his strength, but also his, let's say, his human part or his soul or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the problem that I had was the fact that, as you said, there is for me nothing new under the sun. Let's say, but actually, I didn't find anything new in this movie that I didn't know anything about before, and I thought the movie was too long for what he was trying to tell. And if we go to spoilers, I mentioned in the chat, we discussed that actually I think that one storyline, for example, could have been removed. I truly believe that, for example, let's say the love triangle between Oscar Isaac character Victor Frankenstein, the creature of Frankenstein, and I forgot the name of the girl, the actress of the character played by this girl. I think this part was not developed enough. So I'm thinking, honestly, remove it completely from the script, and that would be fine actually. But the story could have worked, to be honest. It's a shame because I think they were trying to set up a kind of love triangle, but there was almost nothing there. So perhaps we could have said half an hour of the movie. I don't know. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar Isaacs is basically it's put on his shoulders as Dr. Frankenstein, so it's I don't think he quite has that charisma or the way he portrays it. Maybe, ironically, I think he's better in another film like this, which he plays a creator, which is like Machina, DX Machina, well, where he again he's another creator, but there is just absolute strange charisma to him when he's creating. In that case, a modern AI robot. But Alfonso, uh, Andrew, what did you feel
Uh,
about this
it was
necessary adaptation?
I think some people really like it. And
Mm,
it has been very popular this past few weeks. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. I mean, I think the sets, the costumes, everything
mm,
that is technical is top notch.
yeah.
Um, and I also, I don't know, it's not a very complicated story, but I think it's well told. Jacob Elordi does a very good Frankenstein creature,
Mm,
and I don't know. It was funny to me how every person that crossed paths with Oscar Isaac was always reminding him that he was doing something bad, that he was a monster, that how could he dare to create life, and all the time, all the time. The monster at some point tells him, "But you don't listen to me. I have said it to you many times that I heard, and why did you do this to me?" And I like, no, don't worry, because if you haven't told him 100 times, some other people in the film had already. So, yeah, it is. I saw it in cinemas, and it's a spectacle.
mm,
So yeah, I liked it.
mm.
Yeah,
Andrew, yeah. Did you see
I
this at the
didn't.
cinema, Andrew, or did you see it on Netflix? Because I think it was almost a simultaneous release
Yeah,
over here.
it was in cinema for a couple of weeks and then
Mm,
made its way to Netflix. I saw it on Netflix.
yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much liked it. I know the few complaints that I did see up until today, at least, were from people who were saying, well, it made a lot of changes from the original novel from a couple of centuries ago. I mean, that's going to happen. But it seems like here in this version, for Guillermo del Toro, they took little ideas from not just the 1931 film, but also from Hammer, from Young Frankenstein, or even Toho, sort of. But
Mm,
it just seemed like it wasn't just an adaptation from this. It's like an adaptation took from different adaptations and kind of made its own little thing. So yeah, you have some basic stuff there, but also some stuff that's maybe a little bit more unique. Like has already been mentioned. I guess Richard mentioned the love triangle. Um, that's something that really hasn't happened in other versions. Also, speaking of that, in most versions, it's I guess Elizabeth is her name, is the fiance of Victor Frankenstein, and here she's the fiance of his brother,
mm,
and there's no really connection between the two of them. I mean, Dr. Frankenstein thinks that there is, but there really isn't. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing that they just took what was like, oh, okay, this is Victor Frankenstein's fiance, and here in this version, he's really nothing to her except maybe a friend at first, and then not even that much. So I thought that was a little bit more unique. I don't know if that's something that's been done in other versions where those two characters don't really have connection really. I mean, not any kind of romantic one anyway, except maybe in Dr. Frankenstein's mind. Speaking of which, Mia Goth, yeah, I thought she did a decent job playing the two roles as Elizabeth and also as the mother of Dr. Frankenstein, like in the flashback scenes. So that was Mia Goth as well, with some makeup. So I guess props go to the makeup people as well for that and for course, obvious. So, yeah. So I thought she was good, and I would have liked to see more Christoph Waltz. He was really good. I mean, he kind of had an interesting story there, but we don't see much of him after a certain point, certainly. So I've been curious, and I think also the characterization of Dr. Frankenstein in this version is a little bit more similar to maybe the Curse of Frankenstein, going back to again Hammer. So it's maybe different from people who aren't used to that. They're thinking of, maybe like Dr. Frankenstein is sort of like this misunderstood genius or someone who's like, he means well, but he winds up doing things that are bad. And that's not quite what happens here. Maybe initially he means well, but eventually he just kind of goes, in his own whatever, which is, yeah. So, yeah, no, I generally liked it. So,
Okay. Next, another adaptation, or rather, of a book from Stephen King. Again, you can almost say a remake of a movie. It was done originally, I guess, in back in the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It was The Running Man. It's a dystopian future where The Running Man is a brutal television show where contestants must survive over a period of time, here 30 days, I think, while being hunted by assassins and members of the public, in an effort to win the prize money and save his chronically ill daughter. So I think it's Glenn Powell, I think, a man of the moment in the title role this time. I did originally just watch, I think yesterday, because they're showing on TV here, the original Running Man, the with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is a very tight B movie, but again, leaning into that game show aspect, but over a much shorter period of time, like say maybe 90 minutes. So it's almost in real time, and it's very much this WWF WrestleMania vibe to it. Quite fun, fitting in a lot of science fiction tropes about TV and all that. Um, I was wondering what this would add to it, and is it a good adaptation, or is it an actual fun movie in its own right? Richard, you saw this? And Andrew, Richard, what did you think of The Running Man 2025?
Mm. For the record, I haven't read the book, so that's something actually that would be interesting to check, because in a way, I mean, okay. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about something else. The movie, the 2025 version, for me, has less impact than the 1980s movie. What I'm trying to say here is, when you watched the Schwarzenegger version of the movie, we are in an era in time where it definitely looks like a dystopia or a crazy future where you will have a TV show where people will literally kill each other to make money. If you now, by releasing a new version in 2025, it's not completely crazy to think, or far-fetched actually, to imagine actually that a show like this would exist. Honestly, if a show like this, Running Man, was going to be released anywhere in the world next year, people would say, okay, why not? So I don't think actually, what I'm trying to say that actually that it doesn't scare new generations to watch a movie like this thinking, oh my God, is this really what's going to happen in 20 or 30 years from now? Or no, it's actually just a description of what's going on nowadays, because you have crazy TV realities nowadays already. So that's actually the first problem for me of releasing a Running Man movie in 2025. But for movie itself, I think that it's decent, but when you think it's Edgar Wright, you would expect more from him. And also, I have no idea what is the genre of the movie almost. Because as you said, it was supposed to be a B movie in the 80s, and it was a B movie in the 80s. Do a B movie now. Kind of what I said Predator again. Do a B movie. Just do a 2 hour guy running around the streets, killing or trying to avoid to be killed. Okay. Here it tries to be a lot of things, which I respect, fair enough, but then be a TV show. I was thinking about all the movies, I was thinking a TV show would have been much better. Because it's supposed to be an action movie, but also it has a huge political message about revolution, about a corporate and a big corporate TV business actually that owns the world, and the poor people actually who has to go on the riots, etc. And you think, yeah, there is something here, like a social message, etc. Interesting message nowadays where all these corporations actually are own the world, between Amazon or Elon Musk, whatever. So they could be actually an interesting parallel to do, but not enough time in a 2 hour, 15 minutes. So I was thinking, my God, a TV show like that would have been perfect. Fortunately, I think it's trying to be too much in a space of too little time. That's my opinion.
Andrew, you saw this as well. Did you enjoy it, or I mean, and how's it compared to the original? Because I'm sure you've seen the earlier version with Schwarzenegger. Did this work, or this is not? It didn't seems maybe a bit redundant, even. But what do you
Well, I
think?
wouldn't say it's redundant. Maybe nowadays because of what Richard was saying, whereas you want to see something like this, you don't need to see it in the movie, just see it in real life. That's not necessarily a good thing. In fact, I think even Ryan George in one of his pitch meetings, so he's talking about this reality show on Amazon from Mr. Beast, the internet personality, and
Absolutely.
they were kind of referencing that, the idea of like things kind of being pretty dystopian as they were. So, I mean, the original film, I mean, not the original, but the earlier film version was sort of like you were saying, a B action movie. This version, I think, is like trying to adapt the story from Stephen King or Richard Bachman, whatever you wrote it under, and make its own little spin on it at the same time. So, again, trying to go closer to the novel, but also with little differences. And some of those are due to pragmatic reasons, because you can't do the original ending. They didn't do the book ending in the earlier film version just because, that's a more silly action film. They couldn't do it here because of similarities to a real life tragedy. So, and that's another thing too, is I kind of felt the ending was kind of trying to have it both ways, trying to go for like the original ending the original ending from the novel and the original film ending, which is something very different, and try to have it both ways. And that's why it was very confusing if you're watching it. As far as other stuff in the film, and basically have a different character this time around. Same name, Ben Richards, but he's more of like a family man. He's trying to do stuff for his family. He's not some fugitive, some tough action hero type. I mean, he is trying to be an action hero, but not to the extent that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the 1987 film. Having said that, you do have nods to that film and the currency that exists in this reality. You have Arnold's face on the on the paper currency, so I guess they know that people are familiar with that version of it. So I just find it funny how people aren't as familiar with the Stephen King story as they normally are. They just know the film, but that's a whole other thing. I thought there were some moments that were all right, but I don't know. The film just kind of was like, eh. I thought for a couple of reasons. One is that the hunters, aside from what was his name, McCone, the guy with his face covering, he was the only hunter that really had any kind of you could call it personality. In the 1987 film, the hunters all had these unique traits, if only to give Arnold, one-liners to say. But here you don't really have that. I mean, the hunters, with the exception of the main one, McCone, the face covering, they didn't really stand out, and I would like to know more about them. And the other thing is that there was already a or Richard Bachman, whatever, adaptation earlier this year. I talked about it last time, The Long Walk, also dystopian. And that, I think, was a better film. Better just overall. Also, same kind of idea, taking like a reality competition, deadly, and really scary. And here, I just was like, yeah, it could be entertaining, could be scary. It's just kind of like, but it doesn't, I don't know. It seemed to try a lot of different things, and some of them were okay, but some of them didn't quite stick. I wish I'd seen more of certain characters, like Katie O'Brien's character, or Coleman Domingo as the host. You see a little bit of him. I mean, he, I guess, isn't the main villain this time around, but yeah, I wish I'd seen some of these side characters more. But yeah, I mean, some moments work, but I don't know. I guess I kind of feel like, especially after The Long Walk, which was another really good dystopian thing, also King adaptation, so from a couple months ago. So,
Right. Next. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I suppose a de facto other franchise because it's done okay the previous entries. This is the events of follows the adventures of the Four Horsemen. These stage magicians who thrill and audiences worldwide with their real stage magic. So it's basically kind of, it's like Ocean's 11 with magicians, but you have like Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrison as these kind of mainstays. Here they reunite as they join a new generation of illusionists to pull off their most daring heist yet. The Heart Diamond from a corrupt crime family. Twists, turns, illusions, high-stakes deceptions. The hand is possibly quicker than the eye. Were you awed by the, the magic? This caper, Richard. I know you're a fan of the of
So,
this.
a fan is a strong word. I just said, and I do admit it, I did enjoy these movies back in the day, and I still enjoy this movie. But you can say that, and you can also say that it's full of flaws and it has some terrible, terrible writing, etc. So you see, sometimes I'm guessing every one of us has some kind of movie or movies that you know that are terrible, but you still enjoy them. That's one of them. And yeah, for some reason, I just don't understand it, to be honest. I believe that actually when the first one was released, a long time ago now, I think it's like almost 15 years ago, I guess. I think it was a bit original because they say, yeah, a group of magicians doing heist or whatever. That's kind of funny, and also trying to help the poor or whatever, like Robin Hood or whatever. That was kind of funny, and the chemistry between the characters and the actors was pretty good. Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson, especially, they did also Zombieland, and they do work together really well. The second one was already kind of meh. It was just okay as a sequel. So when this one was announced, I said, do you really need a third one? Obviously, the answer is no. You don't need a third one, especially when they are all in their 40s or Woody Harrelson is in his 60s or whatever. You don't need it if you follow these characters, because characters, well, I mean, you've seen once, twice the stories. You cannot do everything. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Andrew is saying it's money. Yeah, of course, money. But obviously, the movie is about trying to set up the future of this franchise. Kind of a lot of times nowadays, it tries to work on nostalgia and fan nostalgia from the 2010s. I mean, nostalgia from the guys who actually watched the first two movies, and also younger generations, because there's a younger horseman now, like 3 younger horsemen, who are supposed, I'm guessing, to be like, like in they are gonna actually be the future of them, and we won't see any more of Mark Ruffalo or Morgan Freeman or Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg. We're gonna see only these 3 guys, and because they definitely take the center stage of this new movie. I will not go into spoilers because there are a lot of twists. The scenario makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not gonna go into details. Honestly, I'm trying. When I took my train home, I was thinking, okay, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. It's Now You See Me. Every time it doesn't make much sense. It's real magic. It's not magic that you see on stage. It's like Harry Potter magic. But if you accept all these things, again, just seeing these characters is kind of fun. Yeah, and these young actors actually are decent, I'm guessing. The best part of this younger generation of magicians is the guy, I can't remember his name, sorry. I'm terrible with names. Is the guy who actually was in the Holdovers, and he is actually kind of the leader. Well, not really the leader. Again, no spoilers. But yeah, and he's really interesting as an actor. And I'm guessing that this guy, I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is actually hired for something big in the future, like a blockbuster franchise, whatever. Not Now You See Me or the Holdovers. Now actually he's kind to make a name of himself. Sorry. So yeah, he is very good. Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, again, it's not a movie that I recommend if you like movies, but it's just a fun time for an hour and a half or 1 hour and 40 minutes. Yeah.
I think it has a kind of like that appeal of that, like it is, like I said, it's Ocean's 11. There's a lot of always, certainly from the first 2 movies, there are twists, turns, double crosses. It's quite funny using the characters and
It always ends with a 10 minutes explanation
at the
of
end.
what happened in the last 90 minutes, and you think, how's that possible?
Well,
How
that's it,
did
that I
you?
want to almost believe that, oh, this is actually how you would do it, or it's in camera. But as you say, it's a film. Does it kind of like, is it such a disconnect that no, it couldn't really happen? There was kind of that tangibility of feasibility that, oh, this is how it, so it seems like a well thought out plot, but I don't know if this is the case in this one. Andrew, you saw this as well. Um, would I be disappointed, or I mean, 'cause I thought the other 2 were okay. I mean, they're enjoyable, but
I would say this is better than number 2, but not quite number 1. But that's not really saying a whole lot. I mean, just because, I mean, I thought the franchise, the concept was entertaining at first, but now it's like, and this is what's weird to me because I mean, Richard was talking about nostalgia for the 2010s. I mean, that's not that long ago. And the idea of doing a legacy sequel, it's one thing if you're doing a legacy sequel for something in the 1980s, 1990s, maybe the early part of the millennium. You have some of that now. This franchise started in 2013. With all due respect, that's not that long ago. So why are you suddenly doing this legacy sequel? And okay, these are the old characters, and we're trying to bring in the new. This franchise has been around for 12 years. That's not that long. I don't know. I mean, I guess, do they feel the original actors are too expensive to work with, or are they trying to move them out, or I don't know. But anyway, that being said, couple pointers I just wanted to mention. You mentioned already that Dominic Sessa, he was in The Holdovers. I thought he was good here as well. The best part of the new bunch. You had him, Ariana Greenblatt, and Justice Smith. So those are the newbies. And I thought they were generally good, but Dominic Sessa in particular does a good job. It's nice to see him get other work since The Holdovers. Also, the film is directed by someone, I guess he didn't direct the other films in this franchise, but this one is directed by Ruben Fleischer, who, by the way, also directed the Zombieland films, which
Mm.
also had
Jesse
also
Eisenberg.
starred Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg. So
Yeah,
I wonder if
yeah.
maybe these share a cinematic universe. That would be interesting. Zombieland and Now You See Me. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't too crazy about this film. I mean, I guess at a certain point you start being like, okay, how do these tricks work, and how this? Some of it's like really interesting at first, but then it's just like, okay, okay, they're just going to make themselves disappear and disappear out of the situation. There are some moments where they bring in where something happens, and it's like, oh, okay. And again, you're alluding to a franchise that hasn't been around that long, so it's not like a big deal that you're alluding to something. I'm not going to say more about that. Also, I don't know, kind of curious if anyone from South Africa has weighed in on this film. But anyway, from South Africa's weighed in because I was wondering about the accent that Rosamund Pike does in the film. She's the antagonist. And she does what's supposed to be like a really thick South African sounding accent. So I'm just kind of curious how that. I know she's a good actress. But I'm not going to pass judgment. I'm just curious if anyone from South Africa has anything to say about her accent in the film. That's all I'll say on that. So,
Okay.
she's very campy in her role. So that's maybe what it is too. So
Sure.
Good at playing straight characters, serious characters. Here it's more campy, but that's just maybe the franchise.
Yeah.
And I guess they had other actors for the villains in the other films. So anyway, I guess some things I did appreciate. Like I said, Dominic Sessa, seeing him get more work, and he's good here. But overall, I just don't know if it's really my type of film. So I don't know.
Okay then. Yeah. Well, it seems more or less par for the course. But I think it comes around a really good time of the year where you're kind of in the mood for these nice kind of like light-hearted comedy capers kind of thing. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. Thanks for that roundup of recent releases. Thanks, Richard, Andrew, Alfonso, and Noel. And for your home. See you next time. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this film and TV review.com episode. Catch the latest film and TV reviews, together with regular episode content from the world of film and TV every week. See you soon. Would you like to reach our film and TV review podcast audience? Do you have a product or service of interest to film and TV home consumers or followers of the entertainment industry? Have a film or show production to publicize? For affordable price plans for all budgets, get in touch and find out about our introductory advertising options. Reach our audience of film and TV viewers and visit our site contact page at filmandtvreview.com, or you can email us at business@filmandtvreview.com. Reach out today.